What if I told you you don't need a workshop full of expensive gear to build like this? You only need 5 core tools to build your toolkit, and with Amazon Prime Days running from July 8th to the 11th, there's never been a more affordable time to go ahead and get your toolkit prepared. Now, this might not look like much, but I promise you this small handful of supplies is all you really need to get started in the hobby. These are my core tools that I go to every time I start, and they're the ones that I couldn't really do these projects without. I'm going to show you exactly what you want to buy to get started, and if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share one additional piece of gear that I use that completely transformed my building without any extra skill required. It instantly leveled up my own work, and you're not going to believe what it is. Now, just a quick heads up before we dive in, this is just going to be the foundational tools to get started with terrain crafting. I'm not going to cover pencils or paintbrushes or anything for the finishing details, but if that is something you're interested in, let me know down below, and I'll be sure to do a full video explaining all of the equipment and tools I use to transform XPS foam into the finished projects that you see on this channel. So first up, for me, the most foundational piece of equipment that you need to get started is the utility knife. This is the backbone of everything I do here on this channel, and I find myself constantly going back to it, and it is always right next to my hands when I am crafting. From trimming up bricks to slicing up foam, this is the foundational piece that you will use for all of your sculpting and getting your cuts in your foam. This one purchase will set you up for months. Investing in a good knife means safer cuts, better crafting, and a lot less frustration along the way. This thing is the backbone of everything we do. The most basic challenge we have is just figuring out how to cut your foam cleanly and safely. You've got to be able to make precise straight cuts, angled cuts, and freehand shapes without shredding your material. The answer is a sturdy utility knife, ideally one with a comfy handle and one with the snap-off blades. And that brings me to the most important part, the blades themselves. A dull knife isn't just bad at its job, it's dangerous. You have to push harder, which leads to slips and rips in your foam instead of slicing it, leaving you with a fuzzy, unprofessional mess. A dull knife is just a butter knife with commitment issues. Get a sharp one. You can often find a great deal on a handle that includes a dispenser of 10 or even 50 replacement blades for a fantastic price. It's the difference between finding your tools and having them work for you. Okay, so you've got your trusty blades, but where is it we need to be doing all this cutting? You don't want to just take these nice sharp knives and take them to your dining room table and carve deep gouges in them. This is where the hobby mat comes in. These things are made of a special composite material that lets your knife slice into it and then magically closes back up. It's an incredible surface that saves the life of your blades and gives you a smooth, reliable cut every time. As a bonus, pretty much every mat on the planet comes with a grid printed on it. These lines are a lifesaver for measuring cuts, making sure your corners are square, and lining things up perfectly without constantly grabbing a ruler. It just makes the whole process faster. Honestly, a cutting mat is non-negotiable, especially for me. Your kitchen table deserves better than getting battle scars from your latest dungeon build. Now, if you're looking for a place where you can get advice on your builds or just chat with other people who are interested in the same hobby space, I'd recommend you join our Discord. I have the link down for that below. Completely free to join, and it's a fantastic group of crafters, and we'd love to have you there. So let's circle back to cutting for just a moment. So you've got your knife and your hobby mat, but you want to make sure that you're getting straight cuts every single time. And how do you guarantee that without getting a Proxxon or another hot wire cutter? Those are definitely not an entry-level tool, but they do go a long ways. But what I would recommend is just get yourself a nice metal ruler. Trying to freehand a straight line is almost impossible, and if you use the wrong kind of guide, you'll just end up creating a whole new set of problems. This is why you need a simple, sturdy metal ruler. Not plastic, not wood, it really needs to be metal. And why? Because you're going to be running a razor-sharp blade against the edge of this ruler over and over and over again. A plastic ruler will get chewed to bits in a few cuts, leaving you with a wavy, useless edge that will wreck your projects. A metal ruler gives you a tough, dependable, and safe guide for your blade. It's the difference between a clean 90-degree wall and a wobbly mess. And you use it for way more than just measuring. You hold it down firmly, press the side of your knife blade up against the metal, you pull straight back, and the ruler guides the knife perfectly. Plastic rulers are for math class, metal rulers are for crafting glory. So we've got our basic tools, we can get our foam cut and shaped down to the right sizes and pieces, but how do we go from flat foam to a piece of textured work that actually looks convincible as either wood or stone or whatever material you're looking for? So how do you make it look like ancient stone or weathered wood? How do you give it life? My solution, and honestly one of my favorite parts of the whole process, is a brass wire brush. This simple tool is the secret of creating incredible textures with almost zero effort. By just dragging the bristles across your foam, you can carve in deep grooves that look exactly like wood grain. A few aggressive stabs and scrapes, and you've got realistic stone pitting in battle damage. It turns a smooth manufactured surface into something that feels organic and ancient. It's like a spa day for your train, except it comes out looking 500 years older. The reason you want a brass brush specifically is because the bristles are softer than steel. A steel brush can be way too aggressive and just tear the foam apart. Brass is stiff enough to make deep, convincing textures without shredding your project. It's great to have a couple on hand, so you can use one for wood grain and another for more chaotic stone textures. This one very inexpensive tool takes your crafts from foam to a very believable piece of scenery. Alright, so your foam pieces are cut, textured, and ready for assembly, but how do we go about sticking it all together? So what you need is a glue that is strong, will set fast, and not completely destroy your foam that you work so hard crafting and texturing to get ready for your project. Now, a lot of your common superglues will have solvents in there that will melt your XPS foam and release chemicals and create a nasty goopy mess, which is something you do not want while you're crafting terrain. The perfect tool for this job is a low temperature hot glue gun, and I have to be specific here, low temperature is a must. A standard high temp gun gets hot enough to melt your foam, which will ruin your careful cuts and can release some nasty fumes. A low temp gun, on the other hand, is just the right temperature to bond foam, wood, and cardboard without causing any damage. It creates a solid bond in seconds, so you can build things quickly without waiting for glue to dry. Plus, it's a fantastic gap filler for those cuts that aren't quite perfect. So those are the 5 essential tools that you need to get in terrain crafting. A good knife, a mat, a metal ruler, a brass brush, and a low temperature hot glue gun. But there was one more tool that I promised I'd share at the end, and that is good lighting. It takes zero skill, but will upgrade the look of everything you build. The secret is your light, specifically daylight replicating light bulbs. This is a game changer. When I was first crafting my kitchen under those standard warm yellow bulbs, finished painting a mini, feel really proud of it, and then take it upstairs into a natural light, and the colors would just be completely wrong. The brilliant red was now muddy brown, those subtle gray highlights had vanished. The problem is bad lighting lies to you. The solution is to swap your light bulbs and your workspace out for daylight bulbs. The light temperature mimics neutral, natural sunlight, which means the colors you see when you paint are the true colors. Details pop, your brushwork gets more precise, and it's much easier on your eyes. This isn't about being a better painter, it's about working in an honest environment. It's an instant upgrade, because crafting in the dark is really only cool if you're building a dungeon for real. Now, all the tools I talked about today have links down in the description below, and with Prime Days right around the corner, now is the time to buy them, especially if you've been on the fence about getting started. You don't need a ton of gear to get started making amazing things. A utility knife, a metal ruler, a cutting mat, a wire brush, and a low temperature glue gun. That's your core toolkit. That's the foundation to building incredible dungeons, war-torn cities, and enchanted forests. All the tools I talked about, including my recommendations for the daylight bulbs, are linked down in the description. So what's your must-have tool for crafting? Did I forget something, or is there something you would change? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you all have to think, and thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps you, and if you like this type of content, let me know.